Welcome to Flourish, the podcast for faith-driven mompreneurs who are ready to release overwhelm, create sustainable, healthy habits, and build purpose-driven businesses aligned with their faith, family, and vision. I'm Stephanie Book, a transformational mindset, wellness, and business coach. I'm here to equip you with the tools, mindset shifts, and encouragement to help you flourish. If you're ready to grow a thriving life and business while staying aligned with your faith, purpose, and priorities, you're in the right place. You are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Flourish podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm so glad that you are here. Last week, we celebrated 100 episodes. It was so much fun, and if you missed it, put 100 in the comments so that I can get you the replay, because we had so much fun just celebrating and looking back at the different things, not only that I got to celebrate over 100 episodes, but really take the time to celebrate you as well. And so make sure that you check that out because you don't want to miss out on the fun. And I have a giveaway that is going on through the whole month of May. So every time you share the episode on your social media, whether it's on Instagram in your story or on Facebook or wherever you hang out, every time you tag me, either a picture of you listening to it or just sharing the episode, your name will go into a drawing for a free book bundle, a bundle of some of my favorite books. So at the end of the month, I will gather all those names and do a drawing, and that person will win that book bundle. So make sure that you share away. Every time you share, you get your name into the drawing. So please continue to do that. And I appreciate it because not only will it help others be able to hear the messages that I'm sharing, but also it allows you to maybe win a book bundle. So please do that. So I thought, what would be a better thing to do than talk about kind of walking through this crazy season as we approach summer. I know we're not there yet, but I don't know about you, but May has always been a spot where it's just crazy. It's especially when my children or my kids were in school. It was insane. I know so many people are dealing with so many different schedule changes and shifts as we move from the spring into summer months. And so once we hit May, we're kind of in that mode of like summer's coming. And once we hit Memorial Day, boom, we're off. And even though official summer doesn't start yet, we are already in that mindset that the weather's getting better finally, and we're just ready to jump in. But I thought, what happens so often, I talk to so many people that by the time summer is done, everybody, especially moms, they're like, oh, I'm just ready for some rhythm. I'm just ready for some structure. Summer was great, but oh my goodness, I'm ready. So I thought, what if we designed a little bit of structure into our summer, not so that it was restrictive, but just gave us that little bit more of freedom, but also the calm. So I would love to say, like, we're going to do a series of From Chaos to Calm for the next couple of weeks so that we can prepare and jump into a summer that we are going to really enjoy, but not feel so loose that we're just not having any rhythm or structure, because I know that we all do better with structure. Like when we have a plan, if we have something in front of us, we do so much better. But it's hard sometimes when we don't have a plan and we go into summer and everything shifts, it really can make a difference. So we're going to talk about building rhythms for a peaceful summer. So this week we're going to talk about just making space for peace, preparing for that calm summer. And then the next week we're going to talk about rhythms, not those rigid schedules, but designing your summer flow. What do you want out of your summer? What are you going to design in it? And then the third week we're just going to talk about, putting your peace plan into action, like what we've talked about, what you've reflected on, and how you can make that work for you and the summer that you want to have, so that you are able to walk through and you're not just like, oh my goodness, let me just get through. I need some structure. We're all going to be ready. So by the time summer is done, it goes by really, really fast. But at the same time, we are ready for a little bit of rhythm and structure. So I'm hoping this will help you a little bit. So I don't know about you, but I feel like in the month of May, the schedules are crazy. There is so many different things, especially, like I said, if you have kids that are in school, everything happens right now. You've got all the programs and the concerts, the award nights, all the sports are ending. And then if you have like a senior, then you have all these lasts that are going on, right? The last prom, the last, last competition, last
you name it, sports, any type of sports that I was going to say sports games, sports teams, whatever. There's the meets, like the track meets or the baseball games or whatever it is that your student is doing. There's a lot of changes there, or, maybe you've got your little one that is in preschool and next year they're going into school. And so you've got all those different rhythms, right? And if you don't have kids at home, we still have some shifts and changes. Like the weather is different. It's finally lighter longer. So our evenings are different. So though what it felt like at 5 o'clock and it was dark outside, you were ready to wind down for the day. But now 5 o'clock, you're like, I get home and I've got so much more daylight and things that I can do. And then you're outside and maybe you're going to do a garden or you want to be more active and you get to be outside. But that all changes, the rhythms and things shift. But I know this time of year is just, I've always felt like it's busy for most people because there's those transitions. And especially, I think for those that have younger kids that are in school, I definitely think that is an area where I always remembered feeling like, oh my goodness, May, where did it just started and it ended. So like I said, I'm hoping that we can help you not only walk through May feeling a little bit more calm, but then being able to step into summer and not be just like everything is just finally gone. And now you have like no rhythm and everything. It's great those first couple of weeks and it's awesome, to let everything go and release. And you're just like, oh, everything is done. But then you're like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a really long summer if I don't figure things out. So I'm hoping with these shifts and changes that we walk through, that you're going to be able to find that calm from the chaos that you walk through in the month. And then also just as you navigate through the summer, that you'll be able to have that enjoy summer and have it really what you want it to be. And that it's not just speeding by, but it's something that you're really present with as you walk through. So I thought let's talk through a couple of things that we can do this week to help kind of prepare us or help us look toward what we want to create for our summer so we can have that calm summer. Not saying that it's going to be slow or boring, but just that peaceful, like you're enjoying the summer. And I want to help you do that. So one of the things we can do, and I just put this in my newsletter on Friday about the pause, pray, and proceed, like a little rhythm that you can do to kind of prepare yourself. And if you're not on the newsletter, make sure that you put newsletter in the comments or message me on Instagram at steph.book and I will add you into that newsletter. I usually just send out a couple, one usually to let you know when the next episode is dropping. And then usually I try to encourage you with something else throughout the week. So, but I was talking about those rhythms, a mindset reset, a pause, pray, and proceed. So these are some steps that you can walk through. So this framework will help you in lots of different areas and seasons. So I thought for this, what do we do first? As we're looking ahead of what we want to create for the summer, what's the first thing we can do? Well, we can first pause. Let's reflect. What are you feeling? What's been heavy? How have you navigated through this season? Just kind of reflecting back, looking at the whole season and what has happened over the spring and what felt heavy, what was exciting, what felt good, and really just being able to start reflecting on those things. The second step would be to pray, ask God, invite him into, what does he want you to carry into this next season? What do you want to see in the season? Talk to him and really have that conversation that he would guide and direct you towards what you would like to see as you approach the summer. And then you can proceed. Once you have that reflection done, you've talked to God, you kind of have that clarity, you have that idea or that picture of what you want to see, then you can proceed with peace, and not pressure. Ask yourself, what do I want my summer to feel like? And then you can walk through that with that preparation that you've done, as you've kind of prepared your heart and your mind, that you've gone to the Lord and asked him to guide you through. And then you have a little bit more calm as you go through it. And we'll go through this a little bit more. So one of the things that could be fun that you could do is, pick 3 words maybe to describe the summer that you're really wanting to have. Maybe it's calm, connected, playful, or productive, joyful, slow, intentional, whatever is resonating with you. Maybe you want it to be exciting, meaningful, and yet relational, right? So maybe you want to make sure that you're focusing on the relationship with your kids while they're home, or maybe you're wanting to have a lot of adventure. So you want it to be an adventure, but you also want to have calm, and you also want to have friendship, so you could decide, what do you want to see for your summer, and kind of have those words to kind of propel you towards what you want to create. And that doesn't mean it has to always be those things, because we know summer is going to be with the ebb and flow of, you may plan an adventure and then it rains all day, and that needs to take a pivot a little bit. So, but what is the idea? Those could be your compass towards what you want to create. One of the things I was thinking about is, at one point when my kids were growing up, I had a friend that mentioned this, and she said that, you only have 18 summers with your kids at home. And I thought that was really interesting way to look at it, and not to be like doom and gloom about it, but it's true. Time does go by fast. And so how do you want to be intentional with the time that you have in the summer, and what can you do to create that environment for your family? And if you don't have kids, or if you're past that kid stage, it's okay. You still, when you look at it in amounts of like summers that you have together with your loved one, or with maybe your extended family or your friends, what are the things that you want to create in those summers that you have together? Now we've kind of talked through some of that framework. Let's talk about how you can actually prepare your life and your calendar for a more peaceful summer. So first thing is, we talked about reflection. So the first tip would be to do a May debrief. We talked a little bit about this, but ask yourself, what worked this season? What drained you? What rhythms served you well? What worked well, what didn't work well. You can't build what you want if you don't review what you've already walked through. So look at those things and write them down. I know in a few weeks ago, I talked about journaling and different kinds of journals, and Emily P. Freeman has the Next Right Thing journal. I think that's what it's called. And she walks you through some different questions, and you journal through the things that you've learned over the different seasons. So this is a great time to do that. As you're going through this chaos, you might be busy in May, but find some time before you really jump into your summer to ask yourself some of these questions. Next thing is clear the calendar clutter. And what I mean is, what are those things that are wrapping up? What are those things looking over that maybe you need to postpone or put aside for the summer that might not fit within the season? Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. So really look at that calendar. Are all the things that are on your calendar, though they're probably all really good things, do they need to be in there during your summer? Or is it a time where you can move away from some of those things and focus on what you're wanting to create, keeping those 3 words in mind of the type of summer that you want. Do those fit? Do those align with what you want to create? So maybe do a little bit of chopping up on the, removing some of the clutter, some of the things, and so many of us like to say yes to all the things because we feel bad, but we want to keep in mind that every time we say yes to something, it might pull us away from what we're wanting to create. So keep that in mind and maybe clear out the clutter a little bit if you can. So create some breathing room, block out a few slow days, especially right after school ends, if you have kids in school, or after a really busy season, maybe before you start diving into all the fun things like the camping and the trips and even the routines that you're going to do, and give yourself a time to breathe, to exhale, to really let it go. Because I think that we are so quick to jump into all the different things that we want to do. And believe me, I get it too. I'm like the next thing. But honestly, I talk about that all the time, that we can't pour from an empty cup. And your kids, they need that time to be poured into so that they can be refreshed, so that they can step into things. And they might say that they're bored, but it's okay. It's okay for them to be bored. I tell you, it's a good thing, because that creative flow starts coming when they're bored. There's times where so often we're so quick to throw something in front of the screens. We put screens in front of us, we get bored so quickly. But it's good to have that calm, to have those quiet days that you are quiet, that nothing is scheduled. And they might drive you crazy, but it's good for them. Help them say, what would you do if you could do something? Maybe you could create something. I remember when I was a kid, we never knew what we wanted to do. So we created a board game called the I Don't Know game. And so as you played the game, you would decide what you could do by the end of the game. I mean, that was creativity that was spurred on us because we didn't have TV, we didn't have phones, we didn't have those electronics to really keep us. We were just told to go play. And so we were able to use those different things to make that creativity flow. So it's good for your kids to have that downtime, and it's good for you. You need that too. So before you jump into all those things, look at some breathing room that you can create for yourself. And then, talk to your family, ask your spouse, ask your kids, what would make your summer meaningful? What would make the summer the best summer ever, And obviously, there might be throwing things in like going to Disney World or, all these amazing, like big, outstanding things, and say, everything that we talk about doesn't mean all the things are going to happen, but I'd love to know what's most important to you. How do you want to spend your summer? Obviously, if your kids are real little, that might not be the conversation you can have, but as they get older, what do the kids want? Maybe they do really want most of the days at home, or maybe they want to spend most days just going to a beach or to a park and just be able to have fun. And what do you want for your summer? If you don't have children at home, what do you really want to get out of your summer? Like, do you love gardening? Do you want to make sure that you're making that space to spend time in your garden, or go for walks, or go for hikes? If you love being outdoor, or maybe you really like to go to the ocean, but you never make yourself time to go to the water. So look at those things, involve your family, and really what do you want to create for your summer? So start dreaming about that, start writing it down, journaling it down. Now you don't have to plan it all right now. That's not what I'm saying. I just want you to start envisioning what you'd like to see in your summer. So I thought, what better way to bring in is this verse, Psalm 46:10. I've talked about this one a lot, but be still and know that I am God. Like, that stillness is so important. And I think that as we step into a season of calm, like if we're in chaos and we want to move towards calm, stillness is going to bring us there, and allowing us to really connect with the Lord. And when I talked about, pray and inviting him into what you want to create for your summer, part of that is being still, talking to him, but then being quiet, being still, allowing him to speak over you. Spend some time in his word, spend some time praying, and really just say, Lord, I want you to lead me into the summer that we should have. And so just giving yourself that calm, that time of peace. It doesn't mean always sitting in silence. It can mean making space in your mind. It could be making space in your calendar or in your spirit. Maybe just taking a real quiet walk and just talking to the Lord, and nothing in your ears, and just taking it all in and spending some time saying, hey, what can we create for this summer? And you're not meant to carry everything. So remember that, you can open up your hands and ask the Lord just to walk you through this, with grace and clarity. God's going to take care of the rest. So if this is really stressing you out, or you feel like, oh, I don't even know where to begin, go to him, because he's going to provide that stillness, and he's going to speak to you as you continue to seek him. So I know I talked about a lot of things. I talk fast because I was so excited to share about this, because I know it was something that I wish I would have taken time as my kids were younger, or as I was stepping into these new seasons. I think I'm so quick to jump into the next season. I feel like everybody is always saying the time went by so fast. I mean, to know that we just had celebrated Mother's Day and we're going to head towards the middle of May already. It's like, what happened to 2025? Like, how are we there? And summer is my favorite. And so I almost want I'm so ready for the warm weather, but I'm also like wanting it to go so slow, because I look forward to it so much. But I want to make sure that I'm providing that space even in my life to be able to allow me to enjoy what's coming ahead. That the summer is just not so packed with all the different things and the to-do list and everything that I'm missing out on my favorite time of the year, and not really thinking about what I want for the summer. So I hope that is giving you a little bit of idea of that you can step into this season, out of this crazy season, into a season of calm, and that we don't have to feel chaotic, that you can enjoy that summer, that it makes you excited, right? To be able to like, oh, what could I envision for my summer? What could I do this year differently so that I can have the summer that I really want? So I hope that's helpful to you. And I have a free guide for you. So because I know reflection doesn't always come that easy. I mean, you could listen to the podcast and rewind back and forth, but I have a lot of questions and things that I told you to reflect on. So I put together a summer reset reflection sheet. So it's a simple sheet that I created just for you as we walk through this season. So just drop reset in the comments and I will get you that reflection sheet so that you can kind of use that exercise to walk through and, reflect back and then design what you might want to create for your summer ahead. I'd love for you to encourage you again to figure out what those 3 words are. It doesn't have to be 3, but what are those top 3 things that you would love to describe your summer as? It would be a fun activity. Maybe you could do that with your kids, or maybe with your spouse, or maybe if you're on your own, maybe have that conversation with your coworkers and say, I was listening to a podcast and they were saying, think of 3 words for your summer. And that would be a great conversation piece, right? Because you really get to know the people around you and be like, what is exciting to them? What would they want to see for their summer? So I think it would be really fun. So don't forget to take a screenshot or put your, tag me with your words on Instagram or on Facebook, or like I said, wherever you hang out, and that will add you into the giveaway. But also it'll be fun so that other people can be inspired and be able to see the different words that you want to create. What kind of summer are you looking forward to creating for you and your family? Having that chaos and turn it into calm, have it to be a great time to spend with those that you care about, or enjoy the weather that might be your favorite. And, we're going to have things that we're going to do. There are going to be trips or vacations or maybe there's weddings, or maybe you have a very full summer because there's a lot of activity or changes going on with your family. So this is so important. So you can come in and take that time of reflection so that you can step into the summer and enjoy it and be able to have kind of a plan in place. And then next week we'll get into a little bit more of really kind of diving into a little bit more specifics so that we can start really figuring out what we do want for our summer. But right now, let's just envision what we'd like to see. I would just love for you to step in and have a summer that is really fulfilling, that is calm, that is really creating what you want for your summer, what you want to surround yourself with. Because it just sounds good, doesn't it? It just sounds relieving. It sounds like you could breathe, right? You can inhale, exhale, and just enjoy the summer. So friends, thank you so much for listening. Please share this episode with anybody you think that might need to hear it, that might want to have a little bit of reset for their summer, to go from that chaos into calm and be able to really make it the best summer that they can have. So friends, please remember that you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care.
Thank you for joining me on Flourish. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired and equipped to take your next step with confidence. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs this encouragement. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at steph.book and join our Facebook community of faith-driven women who are ready to flourish. Make sure to check out the show notes for all the ways we can connect and continue this journey of growth together. My friends, remember, you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care.